What's going on, everybody? This is John Gerber coming at you with another episode of the ACTION-FLIX Live. Yes, everybody, it's been a while since I've been doing these live shows. I've been on injured reserve as of late with the disorder and had a family problem, open and everything, but we are on the other side of it now and looking good. So I just did a live broadcast where I talked about head zone and then on Tubi today. For some reason, the sound came up. So here I am doing it again. So I'm going to do another country. So if you guys go around, so think of this as a bonus episode, if you will, because the audio for some reason was not working. So here I am. I'm going to do it again.
So we're going to talk about Dead Zone. That's right, the movie that came out of nowhere. So back in March, it was announced that action stars Chad Michael Collins and Michael J. White were doing a movie called Dead Zone. And I got the director is Hank Braxton, who actually I knew of because he actually did the movie Dragon Soldiers, which is another indie, independent, lower budget movie where mercenaries go up against actual fire-breathing dragons, which I dug, for what it was, So I was like, oh, cool. So I saw him. I saw he was directing it, and of course, it has two of my favorite guys, Chad Michael Collins and Michael J. White. Chad, as we all know, is a big on the show here, big on ACTION-FLIX.com. He's been with me since the beginning. I've interviewed him numerous times. Great guy. Michael J. White, I got to interview last year for The Commando. Another great guy to talk to. So I was excited for it. The premise sounds pretty cool, where elite soldiers get dropped into a dead zone or D zone, which is an area that is poisoned with radiation because the government has been dropping bombs into infected areas. There's been a virus that has wiped out a lot of the planet. And to curb it, they're using nuclear radiation to take out the infected, so as to stop the virus from spreading. And what happens is there's a research facility in one of these dead zones or D zones that has been developing a antigen or a vaccine to the virus. But of course, then it got overrun with the infected and they had to drop the bomb. So now it's a dead zone. So now they have to send in an elite team of Navy SEALs, which are led by Michael J. White's boss and Chad Michael Collins, who plays Jax, and the other guys. And Jeff Fahey is Master Chief. He's the one that sends them on their mission. He's the top dog of the unit. Jeff Fahey is more of a extended cameo in this one. He's pretty much just at the beginning of the movie, and that's it. So here we go. That's the story. So story-wise, nothing new to report. Again, I'm giving it a 1 for story-wise. Like I said, and the reason why, I probably could have given it a 0.5, because we've seen it before, and that's not a bad thing. When I give low scores to story and stuff like that, that's not a bad thing. I gave it a 1 because I dug the aspect of the stealth operation, the SEALs going in with stealth tech gear and weapons and high-tech weaponry and that stuff. So I was a big fan of that one. And as you can see here, I got some cool. So I got the poster that dropped yesterday. This is what dropped yesterday on social media that told us that the movie was coming out today on Tubi. It's a Tubi exclusive original movie. Then we got another version with just Michael J. White on it where it says Tubi original. And this is the picture which has Chad Michael Collins, Michael J. White, and Antoine Torbert, who is also in the movie, plays Ton in the movie, who's one of the SEALs. That's the picture that was released in March to get us all hyped up for it. It was funny because I was looking for stuff to post yesterday, and then I got on social media, and here it is. And not only did the poster come out and then a trailer, but it was coming out today. So no warning whatsoever. It's kind of a funny story because, like I said, Chad Michael Collins' Sniper Assassin's End came out with literally no warning whatsoever. It just, the trailer popped up and it's like, it's coming out on Blu-ray on this day. Now, same thing with Sniper Rogue Mission, which comes out in August, came out of nowhere. It wasn't on the IMDb. Nobody knew they were filming it. So I'm trying to figure out how they're doing that. I want to talk to Chad and be like, how are you guys doing this? This is your third movie, if you count Dead Zone now, well, we knew Dead Zone was coming because they talked about it in March, but it just popped up on Tubi today. It was like, boop, instant. So that was pretty funny. So yeah, so the story gets a 1 from me. And like I said, that's not a bad thing because, like I said, we've seen this before in the Resident Evil movies and 28 Days Later and stuff like that. A virus that turns innocent people into ravenous creatures. They're not zombies. I don't want to say zombies. They're not zombies. They're not undead. They're just infected, and they're seriously glorified up, So again, it's like a lower budgeted Resident Evil, but I dug, the military aspect of it with the SEALs and them using the gear. So they have special helmets where they can breathe because you can't breathe the air in these D zones or dead zones because it's poisonous. And then they got the tactical gear, and then they got special automatic weapons that have suppressors where it encases ammo, where that way it pretty much limits the trace that they were even there. You can't hear the gunshots. You don't know there's cases for the ammunition. So I dug that part of it. So that was really cool because I'm into that type of stuff. And like I said, I didn't know they were Navy SEALs until I watched the movie, because then at the beginning they were talking about budge trading and, Jeff Fahey's Master Chief, and they're all talking about the SEALs and everything. So I was like, oh, that makes it even better. They're Navy SEALs. So yeah, so the story gets a 1. So again, nothing new on that front, but that's not a bad thing. Like I said, you don't watch these movies for story 99% of the time. Now let's get into the pacing. I dug a 1.5 into it, and I'll explain why. So again, as you all know, I just watched The Gray Man last week, which was Netflix's $200 million Russo brothers directed movie with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. 2 hours and 9 minutes, I think, in running time. Way too long. Didn't have to be that long. Again, I don't see why movies have to be over 2 hours, unless they're adapting a book where they want to get all. Which this was adapting a book, but they could have trimmed some time off of it, Here it's 1 hour and 22 minutes. We got Dead Zone, 1 hour and 22 minute, little independent, lower budgeted sci-fi action horror movie, that pretty much hits the ground running. You got 12 minutes of setup, and then they're dropped into the mission. There's a pretty decent firefight at the beginning when they first get dropped in, and Michael Jai White's using his martial arts. So you got some hand-to-hand, and you got the firepower, and you got the tracer fire, shooting around. So again, it's, but then it gets a little sluggish, because then they run into Goodman, who is the girl that one of the survivors in town, her and her brother, who we see at the beginning. Her brother gets killed and she's still running around, so they need her, and then one of the guys gets infected and they have to try to save him and stuff like that. So it kind of gets sluggish there, and it becomes more of a cat and mouse game, where I would have liked more, like with what we saw at the beginning when they first got dropped in. But it's okay. It's 1.5. Like I said, it's 1 hour and 22 minutes with credits, so you pretty much won't have to go to the bathroom when you're watching it. So that's why I bumped it up to a 1.5. I would give it a 2 if we had some more movement in the middle of the movie. So you had a really good, opening salvo, and then kind of got down a little bit, then it picks up again in the last third of the movie, where they run into more infected. And then, of course, there's this big creature. There's this evolved hybrid creature that is, bigger, badder, meaner than the other ones, that they have to deal with. So it picks up again, and then, you got a pretty decent finale. So 1.5 for pacing from this guy. Now let's go into the action, and I talked a little bit about it already. I gave it a 1.5, and the reason why I gave it a 1.5 was because there's for the hour and 22-minute running time, it's got a lot punched into it. Like I said, you got the initial opening firefight, where they get dropped in and they run into, the infected, and then, after, in the middle, picks up again, where there's some really good stuff going on. You got Michael Jai White showing his stuff, some more in the movie. And he's got a really cool bladed weapon that comes out of his arm, that's pretty badass, that I was digging. Chad Michael Collins, gets in on the action, of course, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but of course, not everybody gets out of it alive, so again, a lot of the other SEALs are just fodder, to go, they get to fall by the wayside. But although a lot of them do stick around for a while, I thought it was going to be like, like as soon as they got there, like one was going to die already, but that doesn't happen. So, two of them, kind of get taken out, like I'd say like halfway through, and then from there on, you got what you got. But if you're a Chad Michael Collins and Michael Jai White fan, in terms of the action, you will be pleasantly happy with what you get. Michael Jai White, although he doesn't do a lot of his hand-to-hand, he still does get the opportunity to do it. And the two of them do get a little altercation at the beginning, which is kind of cool, because like at first you think they're not friends with each other, they're not happy with each other, but then they're just messing around with each other. But then they test the gear, and so they have a little fight, and then Michael Jai White gets to use some of his, hand-to-hand, and, Chad Michael Collins gets to also. So, so 1.5 with the action. Again, nothing bombastic. Again, The Gray Man, you could probably watch that and be like, that deserves a 1.5, where I think I gave it a 1, just because, like, and I've already told you my complaints about that movie, so I'm not going to, that's not about this movie. So 1.5. The ending I would have liked to have had, I would have given it a 2 if the ending had more of a bombastic finale, like, in the opening salvo, when they had the firefight. I wanted a little bit more of that, but it turns into more of a horror vibe, kind of thing, where they're running from the ultra hybrid creature, if you will. So it turns into more of a cat and mouse, what's behind this corner, type of thing. And it is a dark movie. I will say that was one of the things that put me off. It's hard to see a lot of times. And then there's infrared red lighting that they use, so it's not a bright movie by any stretch of the imagination. So some of the action, it is kind of dark, but for the most part, I didn't have a problem with it. Unlike some other movies, I still got to see what was going on, and see the action for what it was. So yes, I would have given it a 2 if we had a more faster paced finale, but I gave it a 1.5 just for what I got, and like I was pleasantly surprised with it. Character wise, now, it's not a big cast. Like I said, you got Michael Jai White. You got Jeff Fahey, who's only in the beginning of the movie, who plays Master Chief. Chad Michael Collins, Antoine Torbert, Whitney Nielsen is Goodman, the survivor that they run into. Tarkin Daspel, if that's how you pronounce his name, is Danner. He's one of the SEALs. And then J. Michael Weiss is Sinclair. He's one of the SEALs also. And then James Markham Hall Jr. is credited as the creature. So that's the cast. And aside from stunt people running around as infected, there's nothing really going on in terms of cast. You got 8 pretty much, and one of them is a creature. So you got 7 people, if you will. So again, that's kind of like what we see a lot, nowadays with COVID and everything, smaller, tighter casts and shooting, areas and stuff like that. So character wise, I was going to go 1, but I bumped it up to a 1.5 just because Chad Michael Collins and Michael Jai White, I enjoyed their chemistry together. I would enjoy to see them do a lot more movies together. These type of movies, military type movies, or cops, where they're cops or something like that. Definitely would love to see something like that. And the other ones, the other SEALs and everything, like I said, they're pretty much fodder, and Jeff Fahey, only has the cameo, and Goodman, there's not a lot of character development. You pretty much, it's meat and potatoes. They're badasses. They're SEALs. You don't need to know anything else about them. Although Chad Michael Collins and Michael J. White have a little back and forth at the beginning where they talk about him almost being his brother-in-law, and one of them almost being one other's brother-in-law and stuff like that. So not a lot in terms of character development, but I did bump it up to a 1.5 instead of a 1 because of the two main stars. Like I said, I enjoyed them, and their performances, and they never disappoint me usually. Even if the movie's not great, like even if it's like a really bad movie, like they still elevate it, when they're on screen, because that's the type of actors that they are. So 1.5 for characters for me. Now overall enjoyment, and again, does it deliver does it deliver the promise of what it says that it's going to do? And it does. I gave it an overall enjoyment of 2. And like I said, it's an hour and 22 minute. You look at the posters, you watch the trailer, you know what you're gonna get. It's like Resident Evil, but lower budgeted, but you got badass guys in it, shit kicking military guys, doing their thing and everything, and you got the monster ripped right out of Resident Evil. But again, it works, if you're a fan of these types of movies, which I do enjoy, and I did enjoy the Resident Evil movies. Even the ones that got so out of whack, that they totally forgot about the game and everything. But I never really played the game, so I didn't really care. So I was a fan, So I get into these movies. I love when they're like tough as nails, military elite soldiers, go up against some big unknown deadly creature or creatures or stuff like that. I enjoy it, so I gave it a 2. So what's that mean? Well, it means it's a 7.5 out of 10 for me, and it is ACTION-FLIX approved. Yes, it is. All right, so Dead Zone out now on Tubi. So again, like if you're looking for something for Saturday night, you want to get some buddies over, get some people, you can't go wrong. Like I said, you know what you're going to get when you're watching it. It delivers what it is. On the negative side, you got it's dark. You got the infrared lighting, and the CGI is really suspect. You got the choppers and everything. You can tell they're not choppers. The explosions are same thing. So you that might take some of you guys out of a little bit, but it doesn't really bother me because I know what kind of budget and shooting schedule they had for this type of movie. And I'll talk to Chad in the future about this one as well as Sniper Rogue Mission, and he'll tell me they probably had 3 weeks if that to shoot this movie. And so I really applaud what these guys and gals accomplish, for the limited resources that they have and money and time to actually shoot these pictures. Going back to The Gray Man, you go to Netflix, $200 million project, they had plenty of time to shoot that. And for what they did with it, I was just not impressed with most of the movie. Like I said, I wanted the rest of the action sequences to be like the Prague sequence, but I think they spent all the money on the Prague sequence and they just got to do it with the rest of the stuff. So Dead Zone out now. Tubi, and it gets a 7.5 out of 10 for me, which is ACTION-FLIX approved. Like I said, I might be biased because I'm a fan of the 2 stars, Michael J. White and Chad Michael Collins, but it is what it is. Like I said, it's got enough action to sustain. It's got gore, it's got some good kills, and it's got some pretty badass moves in it. Would I like a little bit more of that? Absolutely. I would have wanted to see some more like running and gunning, more of the weapons and everything like that. But like I said, it turns it more into, what's behind the corner, type of horror vibe movie, which I thought was cool. That's fine, because they're trying to put genres together. So that kind of took over more in the third of the movie, where the first part of the movie was them, running and gunning, like I said. But then of course they're getting low on ammunition, so they can't use the weapons as much. So they got to get, creative with how they do things and how they take out, the infected and the big hybrid, that they come across and everything. So a 7.5. So it's on Tubi right now. It's an exclusive Tubi original. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. I'm trying to do a lot of good stuff here. I got a lot of good reviews coming up and interviews and everything. Check out my website, ACTION-FLIX.com. We are your destination for everything action in 2022 and beyond. And as always, tips and donations greatly appreciated. I'm trying to keep the website and these podcasts going, but it's tough times right now for me. So any type of tips and donations are greatly appreciated. And for those of you that have donated, thank you very much. I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. So Tubi. If you, like I said, Tubi is a great service. If you can go with the commercials, it does have commercial interruptions because it's free, but it's got a lot of content on there. It's got old school action, new stuff, in between stuff. If you're just an action fan alone, you got your bases covered with Tubi. They got a lot of stuff and a lot of hard to find stuff too, like movies that aren't on, from the 80s and the 90s that aren't on physical media anymore and stuff like that. And they're getting into the original programming, and they got like Corrective Measures with Bruce Willis and Michael Rooker. They had that come out a little while ago, which I have still not seen. But Dead Zone is another Tubi original that just hit today. So if you're looking for something to watch, like I said, you do have the commercial interruptions, but you can't go wrong with Tubi, especially if you're an action fan and a sci-fi fan, because you got a lot to choose from, and it's free. Like I said, when you don't have a lot of money to spend, or any for that matter, the free sites are a blessing, and I'll take a little commercial here and there, if I'm able to watch all this stuff. All right, so there you go. So 7.5 Dead Zone out now on Tubi. Don't forget to check out my website, ACTION-FLIX.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like if you like what you see here, give me some love. Let me hear from you. And again, when I'm doing these live shows, if you're ever on board watching me, comment. I got the comment section here. You can chat with me. We can talk about stuff. You can tell me, your thoughts and opinions on what we're talking about. Like if you watched Dead Zone and you didn't like it as much as I did, let me know why, and I'll have a great conversation with you. You won't change my mind, but I'll listen to what you have to say, and I will accept the fact, for what you had to say, but we'll still have a good conversation. So make sure you jump on, and don't forget the Action Elite over on the Action Elite channel. Owen Frill and the Action Elite, he has his website, so check it out. And we do the Action Elite Live, the War Room, almost every week. We just did Flash Gordon, 1980s Flash Gordon, last Wednesday, and next week I believe we're doing the Running Man, so be on the lookout for that. And also Charlie Chase with Give Me Back My Action and Horror Movies. He does the podcast, which you can find on Spotify and all the other podcast stuff. Does a great thing where he basically talks about give him back the feeling he had back in the 80s and 90s when he was watching action movies, which we all can agree with. So check him out too. J-Man is doing his thing on YouTube. Does a lot of streaming. He's got a wrestling one, a comic book one, and then a Saturday is like a free-for-all where he talks about the movies that have come out, TV shows, all kinds of stuff. I went on that one last week, had a great time. First time, didn't know what to expect, so had some good times talking about stuff. So check him out too. So we're all one big happy family, so helping each other out. And don't forget to like and subscribe, like I said. And in the future, drop me a line. Let me know what you want to see a show on, like ACTION-FLIX Live, or just a YouTube show in general, or on my podcast. Check out my podcast. I have the ACTION-FLIX on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon Prime. Everywhere. So it's getting that my audio podcast is getting a lot of love. So check that out too. All right. So for now, I'm going to sign off. 7.5 out of 10. ACTION-FLIX approved for Dead Zone with Michael Jai White and Chan Michael Collins. Check it out if you like those type of movies where military guys run up against infected civilians who want to eat you. So if you like those movies, then you know what, you're going to have a good time with it, because like I said, it does what it says it's going to do. All right, until next time, everybody, like I said, be kind to one another, help others out, be kind, and treat others as you would want to be treated. And remember, ActionFlix.com. We are your destination for everything action in 2022 and beyond. All right, everybody, have a good weekend. So again, get out there, enjoy the sunshine, but check out Dead Zone now on Tubi exclusive. All right, take it easy. All right, so that's all I got. So until next time, take it easy, and I will talk to you guys later. All right, take it easy.